Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. I'm Vinu Anand at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry titans to share their experiences, thoughts, ideas, and best practices in order to inspire one another and future leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings acquired by these industry leaders. We also hope that by conducting these FaceTime with Leaders interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. By bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other leaders. Great learnings from great leaders undoubtedly assist everyone by identifying, nurturing, and using the trade secrets that are proven success formulae for many. And this is what we aim for with these sessions by making them a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge-sharing community. We have one such industry heavyweight on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Mr. Asheesh Chatterjee. He is an accomplished leader in the fields of revenue management, digital transformation, corporate finance, legal, secretarial, regulatory, commercial, and IT, who stands as a testament to the heights one can achieve with dedication and expertise. With a remarkable 2.5-decade-long career spanning various sectors, including consulting, audit, B4, BFSI, manufacturing, and media and entertainment, he has consistently demonstrated his ability to excel in diverse and challenging environments. Currently, he is serving Onmobile Global Limited in the capacity of its Global Group CFO. So, Mr. Chatterjee, to begin with, could you provide an overview of your career journey, highlighting the key milestones and experiences that you have shaped your professional growth?
Thank you, Vinu. Thank you, Vinu. An excellent, initiative by World Development Corporation. It's always good to kind of network and be able to share knowledge and gain knowledge from other esteemed peers and colleagues. My journey, as you captured, began more than 2.5 years ago. So academically, I'm a chartered accountant, a management accountant. I also went on to do my CIMA from UK. So I'm a chartered global management accountant. And I did 2 courses from Kellogg School of Management, one on digital transformation and one as a advanced management program. So I'm a Kellogg alumni as well. And as I look back into, what finance professionals need to be, what I would say is that while accounting, reporting, compliance, legal is something which, of course, goes with the, part of the job and role. But I think the most important aspect is to kind of how do you embrace technology? How do you kind of manage risk for the company? And how do you kind of be a partner to the future growth of the company? And I think wherever finance and cultures have basically defined that role in that manner, that's where you see continued success. And that's the importance of finance in all growth companies as we go. Coming back to my career, I have handled startups when even the word startup was not coined. So I joined ICICI Bank way back many years ago when it was diversifying into multiple businesses. I was part of the team which went on to do the business planning for the asset management business and setting that up from scratch. And again, mutual funds and AMCs are pretty governed regulatory pieces. So getting into that systems and processes, implementing dashboards way back, working with technologies like Cognos, which were, at that point in time, cutting edge on those pieces and delivering NAVs with the 4 decimal accuracy on a daily basis. So that required that kind of agility. And even today, I believe some companies struggle in monthly closing. While mutual funds actually do daily closing with 4 decimal accuracy. So I believe where there's a will, there's a go. I completely believe that one has to, as a finance professional, look at day 3 closing. Because only when you are working in present and future can you be a true catalyst to the company's future. Otherwise, finance departments become historic departments playing catch up. They are closing, September in the month of November, which doesn't serve anybody's goal. So very early in my career, systems, processes, technology, standardization, simplifications, and trust me, the tools only make it easier, but you can do all that if the mindset is there. Those were the key learnings from my very first job after EY, which largely went on to kind of give me the technical skills to kind of start my journey as a finance professional. From there on, I joined Sony Entertainment Television, which was that then again a startup. Those were the days of one can say the ICE sector. So everybody believed the convergence of information, communication, media, and all that would happen. We see that happening today. It was still 22 years ago. It was still early, and today you can Netflix is an example of technology and media all converging together onto your mobile or an iPad. So Sony Entertainment Television, the journey was pretty rapid. I was part of the global fundraise of when Sony got valued at $2.5 billion. So that was my first brush with fundraise. So I did a $250 million fundraise at the dot-com boom period, even when, the words like unicorns were not coined. So, did startups when the word startup was not coined, did a unicorn when unicorns were not coined. And there the journey from, diversifying Sony franchisee into multiple channels as you see the bouquet today, from Max, AXN, Animax, 10 Sports, Sub TV, History, joint ventures with Discovery, uh, BBC, and so on and so forth, launching the OTT platform, going global, launching cricket, revolutionizing how the cricket is sold. And so that was something, and of course, preparing, the Sony piece for a public listing, which eventually didn't happen because they wanted to control the piece. But as a finance professional, we had to do that. In between, SOX compliance came in, US GAAP came in, transfer pricing came in. So the forex crisis came in. So a lot of things happened on the way, which got the opportunity to immense learning on various aspects. And what I learned from there, that world is a very dynamic place, and unless one can kind of look at how you pivot and how do you see the equation very differently for what it was seen 10 years ago, 5 years ago, you cannot kind of create value. Cricket was a kind of a white shirt, white pant, four camera setup kind of a play before we kind of changed it, and you can never go back to imagining cricket. It was only watched by a completely male TG. Today it's a family phenomenon. So so we redefined the rules of the game, and the fruits are the value is to be seen, and all stakeholders have benefited from that. And how do you monetize that? It's one part of creating value, and the other part of being able to capture value and maintain continuity. So that's what the Sony experience was about. I went on to join Moser, which was the world's largest optical media manufacturer. They went into diversification into photovoltaic, silicon, and many other businesses. The Lehman crisis and what happened with iPhone launch and Google Play Store launch and pen drives and torrents is something which you and me can today look back, but those were disruptions. And the learning from my side was that when you come back, when as a finance person, you kind of look back at these black swan events. Nobody could have predicted them. Then the entire, gamut of what you have been taught and what you have been doing has to change 360 degrees overnight. So stakeholder management, risk management, managing lenders, credit rating agencies, liquidity, resizing those businesses, was something which I did with them. Went on to join Reliance, and which was again into multiple businesses, from radio broadcast, TV broadcast, outdoor, mobile gaming, social media, video streaming, so on and so forth. And we had JVs with some of the big stalwarts like JVs with CBS, RTL, Bloomberg, you name it. So really big plans over there. And again, how risk management plays a kind of a very dangerous set of cards if kind of not managed correctly. I think those turn of events happened, and then we were, although there was, they were at the group level, but we were not spared because everything has a domino effect, as one to say in the finance world. And then again, resizing, restructuring those businesses, and the CFO today has to wear a business hat. Gone are those days where you're only doing accounting reporting. You have to be the co-pilot, and sometimes you have to kind of become the pilot. Because when you are kind of selling businesses and nurturing these businesses, it becomes your baby to kind of nurture and preserve value, find a potential buyer, get the necessary approvals, and preserve the value till the exchange of hands happens. So that was Reliance, and today I am with Onmobile, which is into mobile gaming. I think gaming is the next big, what you can say, sunrise industry as it's coming up. It's going to be bigger than movies and music. With the devices around us, the 5G, 6G around us becoming more and more immersive. Augmented reality, virtual reality, and all that is going to change the way gaming is going to be perceived, and it will become perhaps the mainstay of media entertainment to as things go along. And you can see it already: Netflix, Facebook, Microsoft, Google, Apple. Everybody has a finger in the pie. So it's a fairly competitive world, very interesting world, and that's where I am, from that side.
Oh, amazing journey, sir. Amazing transformative journey. Very nice.
Thank you.
So, coming to the next, digital transformation has been a significant focus in your career. Can you share some specific digital transformation projects you have led, the outcomes achieved, and the lessons learned from these initiatives?
So there are two parts in which I would say digital transformation has to be looked at, especially when coming from a finance professional. First is to get your own house in order, and then largely kind of help the business kind of look at transformation in a bigger way. So I'll answer the first part first. And today, there is a lot of tools and technologies available where you can kind of really automate things. There's talk all about 70 hours of work per week, and I don't say a yes or a no to it, but as much as it's an employee's responsibility to give as much as you can to the company and the country, but it's the responsibility of the company as well to make sure that the work that they're doing is good work and great work. If in today's day and age they're only doing repetitive, poor quality work, then you're abusing that 70 hours, from a company's perspective. So today with cloud, automated tools in expense management, automated tools in fraud management, dashboard tools in compliance management, there's enough technology available at a very cheap cost, which can allow better collaboration, better transparency, better control management, better provisions, better predictive data analysis, better decision making, and all that goes into kind of making the entire accounting, reporting, risk management function pretty lean, but extremely effective. I think my stints, whether it was Mozambique, Sony, Reliance, or even my present organization, have largely focused on what set of tools or technologies one can potentially use to kind of augment our growth forward, where we can be more smart at what we are doing. So whether it is RPAs or whether it is the BI tools like Tableau, I have used them across my career extensively, which had helped both in terms of planning as well as reporting. And what happens with so much technology and tools, data privacy and cyber security, which was something which was not something which finance professional looked at as their domain. It was like something that IT would do. You know, becomes a very central piece of what you kind of do along, because you're dealing with so much data, and if that's left for us, it exposes both you and your company to very serious liabilities going forward. The second piece, which where finance people have to contribute to business, and I think that's a bigger part of digital transformation. Digital transformation is not about technology and tools and people actually. Digital transformation is to reimagine the entire landscape, the entire ecosystem, the entire competitive landscape, both the what you can say the asymmetrical and symmetrical competition that one may we believe that one has to have, and look at new business models of how you will create value and capture value. And that's where the CFO department, who largely comes across as a generalist across functions, a fairly what you can say, a T and a V shaped, a combination of a T and a V shaped employee, has to contribute immensely to the CEO, because everybody else will come from their very siloed project. A product guy will come only from a product perspective, not knowing that product could also actually be obsolete in terms of new alternatives or substitutes there in the market. So that entire piece of how growth is managed, how risk is managed, how business models are managed, how M&As will be managed, is an extremely important part of digital transformation. It's not usually labeled as digital transformation, but only a CFO who is tuned to digital transformation and reads about new age tools and technology can partner the CXOs and the CEOs and his other peers on the board and the investors of telling the story right and being able to capture that opportunity right. So that's on the digital transformation bit. I think it's a must-have. It's no longer something which one has to, kind of think whether I should do or not do. Anybody who does not embrace it will be left behind, and accounting, reporting will all get automated. You're not going to see all that being done by human beings. Human beings will be the ones who will combine these knowledges and these processes to look at new risk and new opportunities going forward. And that's where we as finance professionals have to really sharpen our acumen to tell tomorrow's story.
Thank you for your valuable inputs.
Thank you.
What values and principles do you believe have been instrumental in your career success?
So I think I would value integrity as like something which is at the topmost of the piece. One has to be very professional and to stand up for integrity, whatever be the circumstance. Having said that, I think there are other values and principles that always go hand in hand for anybody's success today, whether it is continuous learning, whether it is having a good EQ to understand what people are thinking around you, so that you can kind of talk to them or be persuasive with them with your thought process, knowing where they come from. Tomorrow's world is going to be, which will actually highlight a lot of collaborations. They are no enemies or competition anymore. You have to co-opt them as partners. So that piece of EQ, that piece of being able to be collaborative, a good team player, are important skill sets when you're doing M&As and mergers and growth and stakeholder management pieces. So largely, these specific principles are today more important. Not that other things like resilience or hard work, which were always there. I would say they will always remain. But I think today teamwork and collaboration and EQ stand out after integrity as some necessary values that will drive change, that will drive growth, that will drive M&As, and that will drive conflict management, that will help manage dynamic times that we are seeing today. The cycles have become very, very short, and one will see disruption in one form or the other always happening. Only a person with continuous learning and that EQ and that collaborative approach, which will lead to networking, will be able to kind of manage the storms that lie ahead.
Thank you for your inputs. Coming to the next. How and when did you develop an interest in ESG and corporate governance?
So it's actually not about how and when. It's about time. In terms of that, these words, as they were coined, need not remain only in books as lip service. I feel whether it is good governance or whether it is ESG, still a lot has to be really done in terms of what's required by the global audience and stakeholders. What I see over here, Givinu, is that these aspects have been often neglected. And irrespective of how big the organization is, how big the industry is, they have been, they have been a lot of talk rather than walk the talk. And the reason why I feel very passionate about this is that uh, anybody who does not kind of do these aspects, any investor, any business, is doing a disservice to humanity and society at large. And I very, very strongly believe, and instead of looking at others and pointing fingers at A, B, C, D have not done this, that, I thought that would be my own personal initiative to kind of make sure that I can provide that perspective in every aspect, whether it is environment, whether it is good governance, whether it is legal regulatory laws, whether it is transparency, whether it is ethics. Each of these pieces are, you cannot compromise them. But I would be, unfortunately saying that 90% of organizations today across the world do only lip service. So it is, a large chunk of what needs to be done lies ahead of us. The good part is that there are organizations, such as World Development Corporation, was spearheading the training and the sensitivity that needs to be brought. The laws are changing towards that, but it basically it has to come from the heart, and that's where change will happen. It will cost a certain degree of money, but it has to be kind of seen from the heart and not from the by compulsions of law, I would say. And it goes on, and people tend to say that it becomes an extra cost of compliance, and I would beg to differ. Actually, if you go back into defining every aspect of ESG and good governance, and there are some baby steps and there are some big steps, and if you look at the big picture, uh, it tends to pay back its entire cost in terms of better risk management, better talent that you attract, better quality of investors that you have, better kind of pricing that you could have possibly have of your product and services because of your reputation. It tends to pay itself back. But when we cut corners and try to be cheap and cheerful, that's when you'll feel that it's a cost, it because when you're doing that approach, it's largely you're doing lip service, and hence it looks like a cost.
Right. Thank you. As an ESG and corporate governance expert, what values do you bring to the table?
So I think I briefly touched upon that question in my previous piece, but as I mentioned to you, is that being able to talk across to every stakeholder, be it employees in your own department, to your business partners, to your customers, to your potential investors, to your bankers, to your peers in the CXO suite, to your board. You as an expert can highlight the benefits. Everybody is concerned of top line, bottom line. So you can, as a finance person, talk that number, that this is how it's contributing back to top line and bottom line, directly or indirectly. And if you kind of pursue this cause over a long period of time, not because the law requires it really, and that's the wrong way to think it, because you want to do it by heart and passion, in reality, not through lip service. And if you can, if I can, as a finance professional, articulate and tell you the returns of that investment, and that would potentially bring a lot of more consensus, where people will start looking at these processes as part of their culture, or part of what they are or how they are. So that's what I believe, that every finance professional who tends to look at these areas and needs to take up this as a go forward strategy.
Thank you for your inputs, valuable inputs, I should say. Yeah. What are some of the most remarkable changes you have seen in your field and changes in technology? And what changes do you expect to see with the advent of IoT, AI, ML, blockchain, big data, and Web 3.0?
While you have listed of all the cutting edge technologies kind of changing the world around us for the last 2 or 3 years, and each one of them have many and multiple use cases, both in terms of our daily household, to to how we conduct business, or how we will be conducting business. Today we are doing an interview on Zoom, and that itself kind of plays a big part in terms of technology. 4 years ago, we would not be doing this in this manner at all, but now everybody is very convenient about doing that. And if you start with IoT, although we have touched upon IoT and edge computing in some form or nature, but today our households, are increasingly will become IoT oriented. Our office spaces will become increasingly, big touch points. There were a lot of things that we would potentially look at from risk or security or errands will tend to get automated. So and where one device will actually talk to other device, and there will be so much data that will get generated, which will basically lead its way to that big data. So each of these technologies they tend to actually talk to each other, or converge into each other. Then big, and with all that kind of huge amount of data that the world has never seen exploding in front of you, it would be foolish for not being able to mine that data for better businesses and better what you can say results and value that can be created. What I can see is that each of these tools and technology will change how businesses create value and capture value. And from a finance function, of course, the finance people will have to look at risk in a very different horizon. Frauds and things of these things will take a different kind of a route. So one will have to be more careful on various things that can happen, because as you tend to trust technology, you tend to become distanced from the real truth, and it becomes like one perceived truth that you see from the computers, and that becomes again the truth. Today we are talking about that deep fake and all the videos going around. I mean, look at for a certain set of customers who are only listening to a certain kind of a feed on Facebook, that becomes a world. They will not believe any other world exists, because the more you see X type of video, the only that X type of video is going to come. There's nothing else that will
Very
be
true.
like an echo chamber. So there can be a lot of challenges ahead with these technologies, and a lot of opportunities ahead with these technologies embracing each other. What we need to be doing is understanding the ethical framework of each of these technologies, and what are the limits that we personally as well as in business would like to kind of define for ourselves, our tolerance level. We like to define ourselves. Today we take, especially in India, I would say, privacy for granted. Barely anybody kind of is actually too concerned on privacy, as much as I see our other peers in globally. We don't kind of change any settings. It's all
I
all there,
know.
whatever is the setup. Even passwords are like 1 2 3 4 5, and so there's a lot of catch up that needs to be done in India. And while these technologies are good, so one has to look at understanding these technologies so that they don't remain jargons in your mind. You should be able to use them in business and life, but at the same time you should educate yourself further to the harms that can come, so that you can be a much more ethically informed person of what are the limits or tolerance limit you would like to keep for yourself personally and going forward, as you know deal with these new technologies as they come in. I don't want to kind of sound like as if I am afraid of these technologies. I believe the technologies have so much to give that they need to be kind of dealt with, appropriately, with caution and love. That's what I want to say.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you for sharing your knowledge.
My pleasure.
So people can be more aware and they can learn a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we are building a community of industry magnets. The move is meant for cross-pollination of knowledge and building a knowledge-sharing community of corporate giants and industry experts. So what are your thoughts about this initiative taken by Mr. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Heval Mehta, and the whole World Development Corporation team?
I think an excellent opportunity. I think it unites the like-minded people across the globe on various such topics. But I think what could possibly help further, I think this is the starting point. But what could help further, if this collaboration and this networking can lead to a voice of its own, in terms of a united voice, in terms of certain views and certain things. Instead of the kind of noise that we see on social media, which can be good or bad, this can be a more collective voice of a very informed group of people. And if that voice becomes, gets that necessary reputation and gets that necessary attention, then we will be able to move mountains, which we individually may not be able to, but as a collective we will be. So I look forward to this initiative. I look forward to this big step, as the first step being knowledge sharing, but I look forward to a larger goal than that, of maybe this collective becoming a stronger voice in shaping opinions and driving change.
Wonderful. Great. It was fantastic conversing with you, and I'm confident that your insights will inspire future leaders. Thank you, Asheesh sir, for joining us today. Wish you the best for your future endeavors. And moreover, trust that this initiative by Directors Institute unquestionably has expanded the participants' understanding and enriched their minds. Thank you so much for joining us today. Have a wonderful day, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Vinu. Look forward.
Thank you so much.